In ancient Egypt, there was a powerful king known as Pharaoh, and under his rule were the Israelites, an entire people forced into slavery. They built cities, worked the fields, and lived under harsh conditions with no freedom. But everything was about to change. A man named Moses returned to Egypt carrying a message from God, "Let my people go." Pharaoh listened, but he refused. He didn't believe in Moses' God, and he wasn't willing to lose his slaves, so Moses warned him, "If you refuse, Egypt will face consequences." But Pharaoh's heart stayed hard, and so the land of Egypt began to suffer. The first plague, blood. Moses raised his staff and struck the Nile River, and suddenly the water turned into blood. Fish died, the river stank. The main source of life in Egypt became useless, but Pharaoh still said no. The second plague, frogs. Next, frogs poured out of the river in overwhelming numbers. They entered homes, kitchens, beds, everywhere. Egypt was completely overrun. Still, Pharaoh refused to listen. The third plague, gnats. Then the dust of Egypt turned into tiny biting insects. Gnats filled the air, covering people and animals. Even Pharaoh's magicians admitted, "This is something greater than us." But Pharaoh's heart remained unchanged. The fourth plague, flies. Swarms of flies invaded Egypt. But this time, something different happened. Egypt suffered, while the Israelites were protected. A clear separation was forming. The fifth plague, disease on livestock. A deadly disease struck Egypt's animals. Cattle, horses, and livestock began to die. Egypt's economy started collapsing. But Pharaoh still refused to release the people. The sixth plague, boils, painful sores broke out on people and animals. Even the palace was affected. Suffering spread everywhere. But Pharaoh still would not change his mind. The seventh plague, hail and fire. A massive storm hit Egypt. Hail and fire fell from the sky, destroying crops and trees. It was the worst storm Egypt had ever seen. The eighth plague, locusts. Then came locusts, millions of them. They covered the land and ate whatever crops remained. Nothing green was left. The ninth plague, darkness. A thick darkness covered Egypt for 3 days. It was so heavy that people couldn't see or move, but in the land of the Israelites there was light. The 10th plague, the final night. Then came the final and most tragic plague. At midnight, the firstborn of Egypt died. Across every home, from the palace to the poorest families, a wave of grief spread across the entire nation. The turning point, Pharaoh finally broke. He called Moses and said, "Go, leave Egypt, take your people and go." After years of slavery, the Israelites were finally free. They gathered quickly and left Egypt behind, stepping into an unknown future, but also into freedom.